The terrifying cries of a girl coming from the room sent chills through the darkness of the night. As soon as Farid opened the door, a scream escaped his lips. He turned and what he saw froze him in place. The girl's long hair flowed down her back, and as she stepped forward, she looked at Farid and said, "Don't be afraid. I'm also searching for the same thing that brought you here." Farid belonged to a small village nestled in uneven hills. The village's greenery spoke volumes as the people were poor but took great care of their land. Farid's family was one of them. His parents were extremely poor. His father farmed the landlord's land, and his mother worked in other people's homes. Farid was the youngest son. Having studied only up to the 10th grade, he had no job and lived a disheartened life. He had two elder sisters, both waiting endlessly for suitable marriage proposals, but they didn't have the means for a proper dowry. This was the reason neither had been married yet. Their parents constantly worried, hoping their lives would someday change for the better. Despair surrounded them like a dark cloud. In the same village lived Jill, Farid's childhood friend. Beyond their village was a dense, dark forest, and within it stood the ruins of an old mansion. Legend had it that many years ago, a large settlement once thrived there, destroyed by a devastating flood. The mansion, now in ruins, still stood a source of great curiosity for the villagers. Many tales were told about it. People said it once belonged to a wealthy man who died suddenly. Before his death, he supposedly hid his treasures and jewelry somewhere in a secret room inside the mansion. One day, Farid and Jill talked about it. "If we find that treasure," said Jill, "we could change our fate." Farid replied, "Everyone's too scared to go there, but maybe we should try our luck." Surprisingly, they both agreed to go. Without telling their families, they made preparations that night. Farid had dinner early and pretended to sleep. He waited for his family to fall asleep, knowing Jill would be waiting for him at the street corner. At exactly midnight, silence covered everything. The house felt soaked in despair. Even the walls seemed to breathe poverty. But Farid wanted to change that. He quietly left his bed and slipped out of the house, meeting Jill, who stood waiting. They could hear dogs barking in the distance as they crept toward the mansion. Their neighborhood was now behind them. As soon as they stepped into the forest, their hearts began to pound. Holding a lantern, they walked, one behind the other. When they finally reached the mansion's door, the frightening noises from inside chilled them to the bone. Jill, trembling, said, "I'm really scared. A broken bar. I think we've made a huge mistake." But Farid stayed calm. "Now that we're here, why not at least try to find the treasure?" They pushed open the door. A swarm of bats flew out, screeching, and brushed against their faces. Jill was shaking with fear, but Farid was determined. He had come with a mission, and he wasn't turning back. Inside, the air was thick with silence except for one thing. A strange, heart-wrenching cry echoed from upstairs. Jill was terrified. "Do you hear that? Someone's crying. A broken bar. I can't stay here. I want to go back." Farid, however, wanted to investigate. "That sound is coming from the room upstairs. We have to check it out." Jill refused. "No way. My heart feels like it's going to stop. I can't take another step." And with that, Jill ran off, leaving Farid all alone. With only a torch in hand, Farid began climbing the stairs, searching for the source of the weeping. Sweat drenched his body, and fear gripped his heart, but still, he moved forward. Finally, he stood in front of the room from which the terrifying sounds came. All the other rooms in the mansion were in ruins. Some had no doors, others had broken windows, but this one was different. The door looked intact and ominous. Trembling, Farid reached out and opened the door. Darkness engulfed the room. Using his torch, he scanned the area. Suddenly, the beam landed on a girl standing in front of a cupboard. The moment he saw her, he screamed. She had long hair and was wearing a white dress. The girl turned suddenly, but Farid was stunned by her beauty. He had expected a ghost or witch, but this girl was nothing like that. She looked terrified herself. She stood near the cupboard, holding a diary. Farid, shocked to see her at this hour, asked in a shaky voice, "Whoa, broken bar, who are you, and what are you doing here?" She took a few steps toward him. "Don't be scared," she said. "I'm not a ghost or an evil spirit. I'm here for the same reason you are the treasure. I come from another village. My family is poor too. I want to change my fate." Farid was surprised by her courage. "What's that in your hand?" he asked. "It's a diary," she replied. "I found it in this cupboard." The words inside shocked me. "Everything in this mansion is ruined, yet this diary remains untouched. Read what's written." Fareed took the diary, and as he opened it, his heart sank. The words read, "You cannot claim the treasury of Broken Bar until I am freed from here, and whoever enters this mansion of Broken Bar never leaves again." Both Fareed and the girl were now trembling with fear. The diary was old, and the message made no sense to them. Fareed said, "We don't need the treasure anymore. We need to get out of here, or death will be waiting for us." "But who is it that wants to be freed?" the girl asked, visibly anxious. "I don't know a Broken Bar, but I've heard there's a basement under this mansion," she added. "I don't know where exactly it is, though." "Who told you that?" Fareed asked, shocked. "I know everything about this mansion," she whispered. Fareed stared at her, puzzled. They stepped out of the room together. The girl still held the diary. Slowly, they walked toward the front door only to have it slam shut with a deafening bang. All the windows rattled violently. Fear and chaos filled the air. Both froze. "We must find a basement," the girl urged. "There might be a secret hidden down there." They rushed down the stairs, with only Fareed's torch lighting their path. It was now clearer something mysterious was trapped inside the mansion, trying to reach out through a broken bar, desperate for freedom. Fareed turned toward the girl and she quickly said, "This voice is just an illusion. Don't pay attention to it and keep working." After some effort, they finally broke the lock. The moment the lock broke, the room's door suddenly flew open with a loud noise, and a strange light started shining from inside. At that moment, something resembling smoke passed between them and moved forward. Both of them stepped back, their faces filled with fear. They couldn't understand what had just happened. Silence spread everywhere, such deep silence that even the fall of a leaf could be heard. Aelia, her voice trembling, said, "We should go upstairs now. It seems she's been freed." Nervously, they climbed up from the basement and made it back to the ground floor. They still had no idea who she was or how long she had been imprisoned there. The truth behind the old diary and the secret of that dark room remained hidden. Aelia turned to Fareed and said, "She's free now, but why hasn't the mansion's main door opened?" This question troubled both of them. Just then, a voice from behind said, "The door won't open until you uncover the truth of this darkness." They both froze. As Aelia and Fareed turned around, it felt like the ground slipped from under their feet. Their hearts raced as they saw a girl in white standing before them. Her hair was very long, and due to the darkness, her face wasn't clearly visible, but she looked terrifying. Her lips were visibly moving. Then the girl spoke, "I'm the prisoner of that basement, living in that darkness for the past 20 years." Fareed, shocked, asked, "Who are you?" The girl moved closer and said, "I'm not a human girl, a Broken Bar. I'm a jinn being. A spiritual practitioner trapped me in this basement. He was very dangerous and used powerful rituals to control jinns like me. 20 years ago, I was living with my family in a forest. He summoned me through a ritual, and when I refused to obey him, he locked me in this dungeon." I screamed and cried, but he never freed me. Then he died. His family moved away, and the mansion was abandoned, but I remained trapped in darkness forever. I cried for help, but people ran away in fear. No one listened to me. But you two were brave. You helped me, and now I'm free. No more cries will echo in this mansion. No one will be imprisoned again. I'm going to join my family. Thank you for freeing me. The jinn girl smiled. Fareed was happy to hear this, but then she added, "You came here in search of treasure, remember? It is still hidden somewhere in this mansion. You'll have to search every room. Now I must go." "Don't be afraid. My blessings are with you, and may you find the treasure." With that, she vanished. Fareed and Aelia, who had been terrified, suddenly felt their fear melt away. Fareed said, "We should leave now." But Aelia stopped him, saying, "Wait, aren't you going to take the treasure?" Fareed replied in disbelief, "It's too risky. We should just escape with our lives." Aelia said, "But there's no danger now. Actually, that diary you found at Broken Bar, it belonged to my father." Fareed was stunned. Aelia continued, "I'm telling the truth. I'm the daughter of that spiritual practitioner. My father practiced black magic using jinns, which is why the mansion became cursed. When he died, My mother and I moved to the city, but I kept hearing the cries of that Jinn girl every night. They haunted me. When I told my mother, she said, these are the consequences of your father's dark deeds. If he hadn't done this, we wouldn't be suffering. She told me to go back to the mansion and help that Jinn girl. I tried a few times, but fear always stopped me. But today, with your help, I found the courage. Thank you." Tears welled up in Alia's eyes. Farid was speechless. Then Alia said, "I know which room in the mansion was my father's. Come with me." Farid followed her. They entered a large room with an old cupboard. Farid realized it was the same room where Alia had found the diary. Alia explained, "That diary was my father's, but the writing inside wasn't his. Maybe someone else wrote that, and maybe as a clue that the Jinn girl was imprisoned here." Alia began searching the room. Soon, they found boxes filled with gold and silver jewelry in the cupboard. She handed them all to Farid. He was surprised and said, "I can't take these. They belong to your father and you have the right to them." But Alia replied, "No, you helped me. These are yours. I'm living a good life with my mother. I don't need them." She insisted and gave all the jewelry to Farid. Moments later, the mansion's main door creaked open by itself, as if freedom itself had arrived. Farid and Alia could hardly believe they were walking out alive from that haunted mansion. The secrets of the cries, the diary, and the Jinn girl were now known to them. Farid had not only gained treasure but something far more valuable, the joy of helping someone. He dropped Alia at the road leading to the city and took the path back to his home. The next morning, he planned to surprise his parents by showing them the treasure. Meanwhile, Jill was certain that Farid would never return alive from that mansion. But the next morning, when he saw Farid standing at the door, he was stunned. In disbelief, he asked, "You came back alive? Weren't you scared? What happened? Did you find the treasure?" Farid smiled and said, "No, I didn't find the treasure via a broken bar, but I did something far more meaningful, and I'm really happy about it. You left me alone in that danger and ran to save yourself." Jill felt ashamed hearing this. Now, Farid and his family's fate had changed. With the wealth he brought, they moved to the city. One day, in the city market, Farid met a girl. It was Alia. She was also living there with her mother. Her father had died years ago, and all the horrors in that mansion were a result of his actions. Gradually, love blossomed between Farid and Alia, and soon they got married. Their wedding was truly grand.